But I believe in you, probably more than you do within yourself, because it wasn't too long ago that I was in the chair and in the seat that you are in right now. 2018 were some of the lowest points of my life. And then on February 14th, the following year, 2019, I looked myself in the mirror and said, Frank, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to be free from this right now. You're not good enough to have the life that you want. You know, I think one of the hardest things for a man to do is admit to himself that he's not good enough. You know, what this does when we avoid admitting we're not good enough is it keeps us in the victim state, right? It prevents us from having to take full responsibility. You know, if we're not where we want to be financially, or we haven't had the success in our career that we believe we deserve, oftentimes it's hard to admit that, hey, maybe we're not good enough at our job. Maybe we're not worthy of a raise. Maybe we're lacking certain skills, certain traits, certain leadership abilities to ascend the corporate ladder or to get out and launch our own business. It's easier to stay in a victim state, right? It's because you haven't been given the right opportunities, because other people have been selected over you, or because you've come from certain places or certain environments that you're never going to reach or attain a certain level of success. You know, if we don't have the woman or the wife in our life that we ultimately desire to have, it's hard to admit to ourselves that, hey, maybe we're not valuable enough as a man. Hey, maybe we don't possess the traits, characteristics, abilities to bring the woman into our life. It's a lot easier to say it's the woman's fault. It's because women these days are self-centered, are all about them. It's very easy, man, to live in that victim state. And when we're struggling with a pornography addiction, it's very easy to not take full responsibility, not realize that, hey, maybe we're lacking certain leadership abilities within ourselves, self-leadership. Maybe we're lacking certain traits, characteristics, beliefs about who we are. You know, a lot of the men that reach out to me, they're looking for a tip, a strategy, a tactic, something that they can do instantaneously, almost like a magic pill, right? You know, instead of looking at your recovery, instead of looking at quitting porn through the lens of where am I lacking in who I am? Where do I need to level up? Where do I need to put on some growth? Where do I need to work on myself? Instead of looking at it through that lens, it's the trauma of the past, right? So-and-so, or the way that I was raised, or the time that I was introduced to pornography, or the fact that I can't get a woman. So tying in a previous part of this video, right? Like, because it's the woman's fault, because I don't have her in my life, that I'm gonna use, I'm gonna seek out, and I'm just gonna consume pornography. Or it's we can't manage the urges, right? The sexual temptations, the urges, the triggers are just too strong. Well, no, man, that's just a lacking of self-regulation. That's just a lacking of, I don't want to say discipline and willpower, but just because you have a thought, you have a trigger, you feel a particular way, doesn't mean that you need to succumb to that. Doesn't mean that you need to entertain that. You know, we've built a really successful movement here over the last 3.5 years with Rebuilt Recovery, and it's been solely built on the belief that the only way to overcome your addiction to pornography is to become the man that is no longer addicted to porn. And when you realize you're struggling with pornography right now, the only reason is because you are not yet the man that can be free from it. It's a very freeing thing to admit to yourself, because what it does, man, is by saying I am not yet the man that can overcome my pornography addiction, you've given yourself hope. You've given yourself opportunity. You've proven to yourself that there is a path to breaking free from this. And if you're willing to do the necessary work, you can have the freedom that ultimately you desire, and I believe that you deserve to have. But when you live in a victim state, when you don't take responsibility, when you don't realize that the path to overcoming your pornography addiction is through a growth-centric approach. Certain areas in your life you're limited in right now. Certain areas in your life you don't possess, whether it's skills, whether it's traits, whether it's characteristics, whether it's belief systems, maybe it's friendships. There's something about your life right now that is not complete. And when you complete the life, when you fill in the gaps, when you fill in the holes, what you do is you squeeze out the addiction. Looking at yourself as incomplete right now, admitting to yourself that, hey, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough right now, but I possess the ability to become good enough. And it's in that possessing of the ability to become, men, that lies your hope, that lies your path, that lies your freedom, and lies everything you need to overcome this pornography addiction. And if you want some help, like I said, in the last 3.5 years, I have personally taken hundreds of men from struggling with a pornography addiction, from living in a victim state, from not believing that they could overcome this thing, to designing and creating a life that truly inspires them, to doing the necessary work, to getting in the right type of communities, to finding the brotherhood, to finding the support, and allowing the accountability to walk them through this process, and creating a life 100% free of pornography. Hundreds of men. And if you're ready to do the work, and you agree and believe that right now you are not the man that can overcome pornography addiction, but that's what you want, that's what you desire, and you're willing to do what's necessary, man, then down there somewhere in the description, in the pinned comment of this video, I'm gonna put a link to an application. Once a month, we launch a cohort. It's a small group, 8 to 10 men per month. We walk them through a 16-week program to identify the holes in their life. Every single one of us that is struggling with this is limited and lacking in a different area. So we're going to help you identify what those areas are in your life. Then from there, together with a community, with the support, with accountability, we're going to design the plan for you to fill in those gaps. And like I said, when you fill in the gaps, what happens is the pornography addiction squeezes itself out because it's got nowhere to go. So if you want this, you're willing to do what's necessary, then click the link, fill out the application, book a call, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side, brother. But I believe in you, probably more than you do within yourself, because it wasn't too long ago that I was in the chair and in the seat that you are in right now. 2018 were some of the lowest points of my life. And then on February 14th, the following year, 2019, I looked myself in the mirror and said, Frank, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to be free from this right now. You're not good enough to have the life that you want. And that choice, that decision changed my life, the thousands of men around the world. So if you're interested, click the link. I look forward to seeing you on the inside, brother. God bless you and have a great day.